those things. And customers come like, can you do this? Can you do that? Like, yes and no.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
That's where Tony comes in.
Yeah, basically, the Tony approach is the customer isn't always right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Sometimes
make
they
them
need-
believe that, but
Sometimes for their own good, they need to be told, "Nuh-uh, you don't want that," right? Hello, and welcome to Boat Talk, where we talk about all the ings of boats, as in repowering, operating, and this week, building, knowing, and perfecting, as in perfecting repowers the Seaboard way.
The
with
Seaboard
Frank.
way.
Yeah. So we are your hosts. Between us, Corey and I, we have 20 years working here at Seaboard Marine. Corey's the VP of operations, and I'm the VP of manufacturing. These days, we just get too many calls and emails and all that stuff to keep up with it all. So we thought we'd start this podcast and answer your questions for all to hear. If you have an idea for the show, or you'd like to be a guest or have us cover a topic, email us at boattalk@sbmar.com.
Boat talk.
So I thought we'd just jump right in here with how we got to now with Frank. We've been doing how we got to now. How we got to now with Frank. Actually, before that, why don't we do this introduction?
Yeah, I think that's the right proper thing. We need to introduce Frank
Okay.
to the world.
So today we would like to welcome on our show a man who almost needs no introduction to this audience. He's been working with Tony for over 35 years. Do I have that right?
that's about right.
His skills grew alongside Tony as they grew from a garage to a small shop to the business that Seaboard Marine is today. He's been the muscle and skilled labor behind most of Tony's large repowered projects. A machinist, welder, fabricator, expert boat builder, husband of 27 years. Hope he's not in trouble because he wasn't sure. Father, grandfather,
Oh,
Yeah,
that's right.
grandfather. Let's go.
and most importantly, the world record holder for the largest California halibut.
Let's get a picture of that
Yep.
up right here.
Yep.
Look at the size of this thing.
67
pounds.
point, what pounds? 67.5?
67.
It's actually
0.3, I think,
taxidermied
67.
up in our showroom. We might want to show a picture of that with Frank with the world record certificate.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful. I was there when it happened. I witnessed it.
Frank Rivera. So, what did you do before Seaboard Marine?
I was in construction.
Yeah, me too.
It started by working at a fish market
Oh, really?
right out of high school,
Okay.
Channel Islands Harbor.
Was it a fishmonger? Is that what that's called?
No,
No,
fish market.
Yeah, fish market.
Okay. And then how did you get into the boat business?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a long story, but I'll make it short.
Yeah, not too short.
Okay. Like I said, I was right out of high school. I was working at this one fish market at a Channel Islands Harbor.
Yeah.
It used to be called Brandon King Seafood. That was the name of it. And you probably know where it is,
I know the
and
area.
we've been there quite a bit of times. And that's where I met Tony's brother, Tim Athens.
Okay.
And he introduced me to this guy, Roy Rayner. You know him,
Yeah.
right?
No, Roy. Yeah.
You know
Unfortunately,
Roy.
he passed last year.
That's right. Yeah, he was actually
Or
my
no, this year.
best friend, my best man actually in my wedding.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
That is awesome.
that's anyway. So that's the way it kind of started. So I got interested in how these guys were bringing in fish, lobsters, and all kinds of stuff in the boats, and I always was intrigued. I was kind of excited like how boats work, and so I met Tim Athens just by asking him if I can help him out, and move his fish around. Actually, there were mako sharks at that time.
Okay.
He was in an experimental
Long
program.
lining?
Yeah.
Long line
Yeah.
experimental program. And I was, he asked me, help me out. So I was kind of helping him out. And since then, I was really excited about wanting to work on a boat. And so it then took off from there. Then he introduced me to Roy, and then Roy introduced me to Tony Athens.
And you worked as a deckhand for Roy for,
I worked as a
couple years?
deckhand for at least 2 years.
okay, yeah. So
That's right.
you've been out there.
I've been out there in some good weather and
That's
bad
called
weather.
on-the-job training.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm sure if you look it up, you can look it up. I think it was 1990 something about this storm. It was about on Christmas. They rescued me from the ocean.
Got
Really?
a helicopter
That's
ride.
right.
if
I got the
remember.
Oh, you got
helicopter
a
ride.
helicopter ride?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
U.S. Coast Guard.
Yeah, it's in the news. It was in the news. You know?
What did we call that segment we did with Jim?
Jim calling me?
Yeah.
What was it called?
I don't, there's too many episodes. Too
Ah,
much
man.
content. I don't remember.
Steve? I think I have it somewhere in here. the harrowing tales from the water. It was
There
called.
you go, harrowing tales.
But
That's
there was a name for it. Anyway, I'll
Well,
think.
I
of
have
it.
one. You know.
Yeah, well, we might have
Frank's
to do
got
that.
one too.
Okay,
So showing
so
a picture hanging from the chopper, right?
okay, so you were a deckhand. So you started out there in the water, fishing, doing work from the operation side of boats. Then how'd you wind up working for Tony?
Roy Rayner actually introduced me to him. I was working for Roy for, like I said, a couple of years, and then he kind of decided he wanted to do something different. So
Roy did?
Yeah, and then after that incident that I picked me up out of the helicopter, I mean, out of the water, I started looking for another job.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Change occupations.
And my neighbor, actually asked me, "You want a job in construction?" Sure, I'll try it out. And that's how I started working in construction. Then after that, I wanted to go back into fishing. So then Roy introduced me to Tony again to kind of work for him to build auto banks.
Okay.
That's the one that
Yeah.
the Timmy has, a big boat.
Yeah.
So that's how
It's on everyone.
So it's
back
been
in
like
everyone's
30,
machine.
like you said, 30, 35 years since I've been working for
Right.
Tony since then.
Yeah. So, how did you meet Tony? Tell me about the first time you met Tony.
Oh, these are always good stories.
Was he wearing them short jean shorts?
I
Jean
yeah, I
shorts?
just have pictures on. I met him. Kind of repeat myself again through Roy. We went to his shop, and he was doing some work, and he always takes off his shirt. Back in the days, on the early '90s.
Was this at the Crescent Shop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A Crescent Shop right over there in by Montalvo,
Yeah.
Ventura, and I was started just talking to him, and Roy wanted to go back to doing computers or construction with.
Oh, that's right. He was like a project.
AutoCAD.
Yeah, he was a high level
something.
project manager.
That's right.
And yeah,
Working on that museum over there in LA.
right.
And so he asked Tony if he wanted me to work for him,
Yeah.
like off and on and on and off. And he goes, sure. And the first question he asked me, do you know how to read a measuring tape? Like,
Did you?
yeah, I did, because
'Cause
I
you
already
worked
had
in
that.
construction.
I already had
Yeah,
good construction.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's a valuable skill. Okay.
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many people we hire that don't know how to read a
Yeah.
measuring tape. That's
So that
bad.
was my test, and
Yeah.
that's all he needed to know. And then from there, we kind of,
Yeah.
worked on that. So
So what kept you around all these years?
it wasn't nice. Yeah. It was just the knowledge that Tony has, or he had at that time. It would just grab my attention how much knowledge he knows about boats.
Yeah.
I mean, he learned it himself, but at the same time, you look at something and just figure it out.
Right.
So it grabbed my attention. Like, I wanted to do that. I wanted to work with my hands. I love working with my hands. You guys
Oh yeah.
been around me and stuff, and it was just building something. I feel proud when I build something. If it doesn't work right, then I really feel bad.
Right.
So it was really really fun, and I learned a lot, and I'm still learning every single day that I'm here.
Absolutely.
You can always improve it, like you said. We can make it better.
Yeah. Tony says there's always room for improvement.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We always leave room for improvement. I try not to. I always leave room for improvement.
So I got here. I just have the word repowering here, and so that's I mean the majority of what you've done over the years. I mean, obviously you've built boats from scratch. You've done a lot of boat remodeling. You've lengthened boats and stuff, but most of what you've done is repowering, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And I have here. So with the one of the titles of the episode is perfecting. So how can you tell me a little bit about you and Tony perfecting the way you do repowers?
Sure. For an example, there's some boats that when I started with Tony, they used to come in and they wanted to have like repower. Like, let's say they want a new engine. They had an old engine in there. So we looked at it. We went over and looked at it, and like what they wanted. They wanted to go faster. They wanted to do everything new, transmission, shaft. So we had to start from scratch pretty much.
Right.
So we took everything off the boat mechanically, whatever makes the boat run, transmission, shaft, Sometimes we had to cut the shaft log.
Right.
I'm sure you have a store.
We have videos of
Videos
stuff.
of that.
Yep,
Okay.
Yep.
Propeller, rudder, everything that had to do with the boat, and even electrical work. You know, sometimes we had to modify the engine room just to make the engine fit.
Right.
Change the size of the shaft log to make the propeller shaft fit, and it was a lot of thinking involved and a lot of planning, but nobody really understood like Tony did, or a lot of people when they came and looked at what we did. We looked at everything and we started taking it apart. How are you going to put it all back together? We have a plan, you know? And Tony and I sit down, and that's the thing about Tony, that we enjoyed it so much that we just started going for it. It was a lot of fun.
One of the things I noticed about the way that you and Tony approach things is that that you gotta take extra time. You never rush through anything. You never. I mean, you work fast. Don't get me wrong, but you don't do it until you're sure that you've got the best thing you can the best solution you can come up with. Sometimes you work over here and kind of marinate on how you're going to do that, and then you'll work over there and marinate on how you're going to do that, and really think it through. And Tony's the master of that, right? He'll be like, "Wait, don't do anything, stop. I want to think about it," and he'll come in and at 4 a.m. in the morning, woke up with this solution, right?
Yeah, there's a saying too. Like you used this before, measured twice, got once.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing. So that's what Tony did. He thought about it, looked at it, and he, like you said, let me think about it overnight, and slept on it, and I was just excited to get to work next day. Sometimes we work long hours, 7 days a week.
In the early days,
In the early days, And it was just the thought, just to get involved and doing it. It's because if you have a passion for it, you want to do it right.
Right.
You want to get that's like your reputation. You want to get known for what the quality of work, not so much how much work you do, but the quality of work you do. And this is really, really kind of exciting.
One of the examples I think of is when I first started, I think I was tasked with putting, I don't remember if it was a cleat or it might have been an anchor guide or something, but it basically was a plate that we're going to bolt to the bow, right? To the top of the bow. And, I look at that and I go, okay, I'll drill 4 holes. I'll put it on there, drill 4 holes, and I'll go under there and I'll put washers and nuts, and this will take me, 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, as you were saying that, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
As you were saying that, I was thinking the process. No, if it's foam or plywood,
right?
We're gonna core it, or we're gonna just 5200 or all kinds. I'm just kind of going through it, and kind of that's what Tony taught me. I was just kind of like, let's think about it. Like let's, for example, drilling a hole through this piece of wood.
Right.
You can just put a backing plate and torque it down,
or just washers,
and that's pretty much it. But that's not what we. That's not what we do. We
make
it better.
Yeah.
We make it better, improved it by looking at it. What was there before? Now we can make it better.
Yeah.
We can do kind of the same thing, but make it better. Bigger bolts, 5200 stainless bolts. Sometimes they use steel bolts and galvanized bolts. I mean, we got rid of all that, and we had to reglass the whole front deck, like talking about a bow roller, and make a bigger plate, especially like on the bottom of a boat, like underneath it. A lot of people just put washers, like you were mentioning, washers.
It's very
we like to go if you can make a nice big plate underneath it and glue it up there, and that way there's no chance of water getting through those bolts is the key.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with just drilling 4 holes and bolting something to a deck with a couple washers on the back. A lot of people will do it that way. A lot of boatyards will do it that way. And when somebody gets their repower done here and they get a bill and they're like, 4 hours to put that stupid plate on the deck.
I could have done it in 1.
Well, yeah. Well, there's a lot of problems with just throwing some washers and nuts on the back of a plate. First of all, it could, like you said, it could squish is it foam core? It can squish over time, or maybe it'll squish right away. It can leak. Let's say you need to take that deck plate off and you're by yourself. How are you going to be on top, unscrewing it, and be on the bottom and hold the nut? So Tony might do something like, or Frank, they might do something like put 4 studs on a plate that they weld the studs in place, and they get that all lined up, and then they drill the holes oversized, and then they fill it with Q-cell and Cabasil and glass so that there's basically some reinforcement in between the 2 plates, spreads the load out. They take the whole thing back apart, then they bed it all in with 5200 and bolt it all together with stainless hardware. Everything's polished. It looks killer. It's It's corrosion resistant.
And it stands the test of time.
Stands the test of time. And if you need to take the plate off, you can take it off. Bam. With just one person.
Yeah, there's so many ways you can do it. You know, depending on the boat and the application,
Right.
What's going on, what kind of work they do. It takes so much time involved to
do it right.
To do it right.
It does.
And sometimes, like you said, you can't help it. You gotta leave room for improvement.
You're right.
So
you never get it perfect. There's no such thing as perfection.
Right. Yeah. So it's been very involving, like experiencing like how exciting that is. You know, Corey's been there. I worked with Corey a couple of times, and now he's my boss. You know,
we spent about 2 years on boats doing the repower when I was first getting my feet wet.
What was the name of the boat we started?
That was a Susan Lee.
That's right.
Oh man, that was a good one.
It was. It's exciting. It was a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. And when you're on a boat with Frank, you know, Frank works 10 times faster than I could ever want to work. And so sometimes it's challenging to keep up with Frank because he automatically knows what needs to be done. He's been doing it so long that he just gets it done and does it right the first time. And I remember, you know, in the early years spending time with you, trying to soak all this up and learn, it was a challenge because, you know, in this industry, even though we do take our time and do it right, it's like there is something to be said about working efficiently and fast and good, right?
Right.
And you don't see that a whole lot anymore these days. And I just remember, you know, the first couple of years, it was trying to keep up with Frank was impossible.
Right. Or just like you said right now, like an example, when just putting a one stainless number 10 screw on a piece of foam or wood, a lot of people are like, oh, just screw it, just drill it and screw it on there. Well, it's a lot more than that. You kind of screw it, you countersink the hole a little bit,
right?
And you go ahead and put 5200 on there or whatever kind of glue you want to put on there, and then you go ahead and screw it on there. And it takes time.
And there's a lot of little things like that when you work on, especially when you're working in fiberglass and stuff like that.
That's why a lot of boats come to us, because they know that we're not can say that we're not cheap, but we do quality.
We're not going to cut corners.
We're not going to cut corners. We do it all. We go all the way.
Another example, there's definitely some videos on this. I think it was maybe on Matt's boat. I can't remember, but a lot of people when they put stringer brackets, they'll just cut a piece of L metal and just drill some holes and bolt it to the stringer, and put 4 brackets, and then they drop the engine on, and it's quick and done and dirty. But then they call us when their isolators fail, because all the isolators are pointing
in parallel,
or it's really hard to align the engine because everyone's pointing in a slightly different direction. Frank sits there and he uses a straight edge, clamps it with levels, angle finder, gets those, and then he puts a few bolts in to pin it, right? Beds it into Q-cell and cabecil so that the side of the stringer now has this flat structural mating surface. Then takes all that apart, puts it all back together with stainless hardware and caulking to seal everything out. And
now your platform is 100% true to the engine and the alignment of the shaft coming into the boat.
Yeah.
It sounds, you make it sound easy. But
no,
if you
make it look easy.
I'm sure you have some videos or pictures of what we've done and the time that it takes just to get there.
Yeah.
It's so time consuming and just manpower and materials, and people don't realize that.
Right.
If they look at a video from start to finish, like a boat, like even like the Raptor, I don't know if you have videos of the Raptor pictures. You should. Tony has pictures of that. The Raptor, like we've done some work on the Tuninator. You heard of it? It's a really popular.
Those are
boat.
On our website.
They're on the website,
just with pictures and descriptions.
This is pre-video stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff. Oh, okay. So there's so much information you can get on just looking at a picture, but you're like, oh, that looks easy. But it's not. You know, it takes, I mean, I've been here for, like I said, 30, 35 years, and I learned a lot from Tony. All those little details, all those little techniques, it takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time.
I think those boats were back before they had invented video cameras yet.
And not only does it take
cell
time,
phones,
but there's also something to be said about, you know, refining the process. It also takes some mistakes along the way, you know, and if you've been doing this for 35 years, I guarantee you in the first, 5, 10, 15 years, you learn from little things like that, little things that you end up changing because they work better, right? And you amass, when you look back, that 35 years, and you look at all of that history, I'm sure you look back and say, wow, I mean, now, like what I know now is 35 years of amassed knowledge and information of all the things I've done right and all the things I've done wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
You can tell when some of the the boats that we worked on, you can tell just by looking at like, oh, that's Seaboard Marine work. The way we do things. You mentioned something about alignment and isolators and stuff. That took me a while from Tony to get. He was telling me, but I wasn't getting it.
Right.
It was one of those things that only Tony could think that way, right? So I was trying to like, okay, I need to get in Tony's brain somehow. How can I do this? You know,
once you get in, you can't get
now.
out.
You can do it AI. Now you can do it, but not. And back then it was different.
Place.
Yeah.
Lots of numbers and stuff
So,
in there.
over and over, just telling me the same thing and doing this way and that way, I caught on, you know, started doing it, how to align an engine. It's a lot of people do it, and I've seen so many weird stuff. How to align an engine. I can talk for hours, really. I mean, I can go on and on, but I don't think this. I don't think this is. We
don't have enough time. We don't have enough.
Okay,
we'll have to do another segment called aligning.
Well, by the way, we've had the idea. We've talked about this of having a video series called "Life in the Bilge" with Frank.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Because he's spent his life in the bilge, and he's still in there. He's got a boat right outside this. I don't know if
we pulled him out of the bilge to get him here.
We literally did. So. Frank and I were making a lot of videos. It's been a little bit more spotty since I've been more involved in the business side of things, but we're trying to get there. We're trying to build up a team of parts guys. And that's one of the reasons that, we don't answer the phone every time, because we're trying to build up a team that can handle the day-to-day part stuff so that we have more time to create this content. But yeah, if you want to see Life in the Bilge with Frank Rivera, shoot us an email, make a comment, and we'll take that as a vote for that's something we need to get going.
Title. That's a good title.
You got my vote.
Okay.
You got my vote too.
So one of the things I have, thinking outside the box. Wouldn't you say that's something that Tony really excels at?
Yeah, he does.
Just because somebody does something a certain way, and sometimes I would argue, if you try to do something simple like plumb a sink, he thinks outside the box. I would argue to a fault. He can't just go to Home Depot and buy all the parts that are
going to plumb it like a regular sink.
By the way, every plumber, like, they get the same parts. It's all I don't know if UL listed or whatever. It's listed for that application. What, not UL would be electrical, but you know what I mean. It's all certified and meant to go together a certain way. It's required by code to go together. Tony won't. He'll throw all that out and be like, "Oh, the way they made the sink is crap. It needs this, it needs that." And he usually has pretty good reasons for why it's crap, because it's probably hard to get apart, or it doesn't last that long, or whatever. But when it comes to boats, the nature of these big heavy diesel engines and being out on the water and the corrosive environment and all that stuff, this thinking outside the box is really critical. Is really not critical, but what's a better way to say it? It's really beneficial. Because it's there's a lot of bad practices that people that's the way they've been doing it. They've been doing it that way forever, and nobody even really knows why anymore. That's just the way they do it. Right. And Tony will be like, just because everybody does it that way, I see a problem there. And he looks for those problems. A lot of people don't look for the problems. They just say, "Oh, I need to drill a hole and put a washer and put a bolt in." Tony thinks, "Wait a minute, I see problems with that."
Yeah, for example, I don't know if you made a video of the zinc plate. Like on the stern of the boat.
Right.
A lot of companies just have a bolt. You drill through the back of the boat and put another washer, like you said.
Right.
And then they put the zinc plate on there, and then the bonding wires. Well, you know how we do it. We weld the plate, 2 studs, go all the way through and bond. You need the surface area.
You bed that whole thing in.
That's thinking out of the box. That's the thing Tony was thinking out of the box. Another thing too is like Tony has had some boat experience before.
Right.
He fished with his brother
a
couple of years and all that, and he got some experience, and that actually helped me. Being out there in the ocean, how boat moves around. That's thinking out of the box a little bit.
Yeah.
And when I started working for Tony, and he goes, "Oh, put this on," and I said, I kind of got like, I know what he wants to do this way because of all the torques, all the twisting, all the water, and all that. And a lot of people want to do stuff on the boats, but they want to do it a certain way, and it's like, that's gonna break, or that's not gonna last. That's why you said thinking out of the box. He just throws that out of the way and starts rebuilding it.
He
Right.
approaches that with
He
everything. I
approaches
mean,
it, yeah.
you talk about, like the propeller nuts and his approach to the propeller nuts.
Yeah.
Everyone out there, I guarantee you, at a boatyard, we're like, we don't do it that way, and
Right.
he's like, well, here's why we do it that way. And
Right.
and there's a multitude of things that he does like that, right? Where he just does it his own way, and you know why? Because it works,
Right.
and it stands the test of time.
Right.
There's boats out there like the Misconception that we've built from the ground up.
Right.
And
Right.
these and the Orca,
Orca.
these boats, the lobster boat, if you want to know what the Orca is, these boats are going to outlast their owners.
Right.
Okay, and they're going to be around here hundreds of years after we're all gone.
Right.
And no more boat talk, unfortunately. Right. But those boats are going to be out there. They're built to last. And
Right.
you're right. Tony's approach is exactly like that. I think he's so passionate about boat building is he takes that approach to everything else. Like
Right.
he said, just building a common sink. It's like, no, this sink is going to last
Right.
forever,
Right.
ever and ever and ever.
And there's always a way to take it apart and maintain it.
Yeah.
Nothing gets covered up where you can't get to it.
I think he's got he sees the world through the lens of a boat.
Right. He does.
The world is his boat.
Right.
Everything's a boat.
Yeah, but you gotta. One point is that it's gonna take you, like Justin, take me, just to make a little bit of Tony.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no way we can.
Yeah, there's
Our
no-
powers
He
combined.
has so much information as Seaboard Marine just through him that is expanding.
Yeah.
And I think you guys as a team, you guys are making it, like you said, making it better, leave room for improvement.
Right.
And that's improvement. He's doing it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing I have here is the importance of mocking things up in full scale. How many times have we seen, like, I think about that example, someone brought their boat in, they had the whole wheelhouse built. And what did you do?
Was that the Bertram?
You chopped the whole wheelhouse off and made a camper out of it for his pickup truck.
Oh, God.
We got,
Yeah.
Oh,
you have
we
a
gotta
picture
get a
of that?
picture
You
of
got to get a picture of that.
Put it right here. I want to see
What do we call it? Not the boater home, the land yacht.
the land
Something.
yacht.
Well, I don't know. Maybe comment below a good name for it.
You have to have fun.
Right.
Right?
But
Work.
I'd be willing to bet dollars to donuts, as they say, that whoever built that didn't actually mock it up full scale. Didn't
No, it was built, one step at a time.
they just kind of, oh yeah, it seems about right, and built it. When Frank builds something, they mock it all up. He'll cut out plywood, he'll cut out strips, he'll cardboard, hot glue gun he uses a hot glue gun a lot, which is great. And he'll put together this whole thing so you can walk in and feel the space and be like, I really think maybe on the outside rail we could be a little skinnier and because I need more room in here, or maybe you feel a little tight, and you can't tell those things. If you just kind of eyeball it and start building, you'll never get it right. But if you mock it up at full scale, it's like your version of 3D modeling.
It's
right.
a true testament. That's exactly how you did the Bertram.
Yeah.
Right. The whole cabin was mocked up with cardboard and it was like a plywood, and you're looking at it, you're like, well, that looks crazy. But then you go in there and you get an automatic feel for, is this the right height?
Right.
Do we have enough width? Can we put all the things we want in there? And this is just cardboard.
Yeah.
And once you have it, it's like, okay, now you start building it to that.
Right.
Oh, you
And-
guys.
Sorry. What? I was
sorry.
gonna say, and he'll go ahead and do that, and then go back and work on something that we know set in stone, something mechanical, something more basic, and live with that for sometimes a week or
Let
two.
it breathe.
Let it breathe. Get a feel. Go in and out. You're going down, climbing down into the V berth and back out, and you live with it for a while before you commit and start cutting that expensive foam and fiberglass.
Right. I had that experience with the first time with Tony building Outer Banks.
Outer Banks.
Yeah, and really got better at it when we were building the Raptor. That was the second boat.
Ronnie Rector's boat.
Ronnie Rector's boat.
Was the Outer Banks your first experience doing fiberglass
Yeah.
work? Okay. And,
Yeah.
and at that point, had Tony had a lot of experience with fiberglass work, or were you both kind of learning together?
No, he has some experience already through like local banks already,
Okay.
and some other boats that he had built before.
Yeah.
That was my first experience, and like you were saying, how I was doing it with the glue gun and all the cardboard.
yeah.
I mean, it's easier to do it like AutoCAD, like you experience on that.
Yeah, but it's
and
not the same.
It's not this. I know, but and you with a computer too, so I'm pretty good at it and everything. But I was looking at more. Once you look at it and you put something there, visualize it and look at it and like, that doesn't look right.
And you can get inside of
And
it.
you can get
Feel
inside
it.
of it.
You can
look
change
around.
it easily, right? You
Yeah.
can make modifications
Yeah,
easily.
so that was AutoCAD for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing it out of cardboard and glue.
Yeah, manual CAD.
And like you said, you mentioned that I cut a cabin off a boat. Yeah, they took planning. What happened is that the owners were involved. They wanted it a certain way. And when the owners get involved and they don't have someone feedback from the actual guy that has experience of building something like Tony or if they just want to, if we're just going to go ahead and just do it like the owner wants, believe me, it's going to be probably wrong.
Yeah.
So that's where the experience comes in. Is we give her input and say, hey, you know what? I don't recommend this. If you do this, we tell them, it's like, you're right. They were not seeing that.
Right.
Because that's how Tony and I look at it way ahead when it's all done, kind of in a picture in our minds. And so we were kind of looking at those things. And customers come like, can you do this? Can you do that? Like, yes and no.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
That's where Tony comes in.
Basically, the Tony approach is the customer isn't always right.
Yeah. We
Sometimes
make them believe that, but
sometimes for their own good, they need to be told, you don't want that, right?
Yeah, right. That's correct.
One thing I have here is sometimes taking a step backwards to go forwards. Sometimes you kind of get part of the way through something. I've noticed when I watch you work and you're like, it sucks because you might already have a few hours into it. And it's like, no, let's rip it out and start over. And that's something that I think Tony never cuts corners. Never. He'll never just be like, good enough. Just finish it because he wouldn't finish it because it's halfway done. He'll only finish it if it's the best possible way we can think of to do it at that time, right? At all costs. So again, that's one of those things that costs more time and money, but sometimes you kind of start on it and you're like, oh, now I see the right way to do this. Yeah. Take it apart, do it over, and it's worth it.
Well, like what you're saying right now is really important. I want to mention something. I'm sure you have something about fuel tanks, how to build a fuel tank.
Well, we've done some videos on that. But yeah.
That's a good example where you have no second chance. You do it right the first time, or
don't do it at all.
Or don't do it at all. I still get nervous just actually when I get to put the last piece on a fuel tank. Mm-hmm. It's so nerve-wracking because if you miss one little spot of Q-cell bonding material, it can ruin your whole project.
Right. Yep.
And that's a lot of time. That's a lot of money.
Huge.
So we, like you said, we take our time, try to do it right, and don't cut corners. That's one thing Tony told me. Don't cut any corners.
Right.
And because once you do, try to do it fast and cut corners, you pay for it later.
You pay for it big time.
Big time, yeah.
So I have here Matt combo, Matt combo, Matt
combo,
Matt combo.
We got to get T-shirts made.
What did you say, Corey? Matt combo, Matt.
We
Matt
should.
Combo, Matt.
Hey, if you'd like to see a Matt, so if you're a fan of our old YouTube videos, sometimes we would make a joke. I'd actually put it down like on the screen or whatever.
Matt combo,
make a joke of the Matt combo, but I just want to ask you seriously: is there a method to that madness?
About how you layer fiberglass?
Yeah.
Frank,
why is it so specific? Why doesn't just Matt combo, Matt combo, Matt combo? Why is it Matt combo, Matt combo, combo Matt?
Well,
or you
the thing that I learned,
or are you just messing with me?
All these years, I had no idea. He's just making it up as he goes.
I just kidding. You could have done combo Matt combo.
He's like, no, combo Matt combo.
I'm gonna go.
Or is it as you're doing it, you're looking at it and you're like, this needs a little more Matt before I go to the combo. Or
well, this is where the boat experience comes in about how things flex and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know about construction. You know what. To do a 2-story, you have to do 2x6 on the bottom and go on.
Yeah.
So kind of like that building a boat is like when you're gonna get a piece of foam, or if we do plywood, the strength is on the plywood is the plywood, not the glass. The glass is just to give it shield it from the water,
elements,
from the elements. Foam is just like the structural piece of
it. The shape.
But what makes it stronger is the glass you
right.
put over in the bottom and on the top. That makes it strong. But it depends too how much glass you're going to add to it to make it even stronger,
right.
to make it structurally sound.
And in the right areas,
In the right areas, on the the combing and all that stuff. There's a lot to talk about it, but
yeah, you don't need to get.
We'll have another episode called glassing.
Real simple thing is just like how much the thickness matters.
Yeah.
How much glass to make it stronger.
And you alternate between matte and combo because the combo, by the way, the matte. So there's cloth.
Well, cloth it started.
Cloth
that
is
was
like
one of the first materials they started using, like surfboard building, and
right.
used it for foam. But
it's woven.
As materials progress, get better. The combo, it's 1708. It's really 1708. It's called, and then different ounces.
Yeah.
And then it's like the matte 1 ounce, ounce and a half.
So the mat is shredded
It's
bits
shredded,
of fiberglass that are
kinda-
kind of like loosely glued together,
Yeah.
and you can contour very easily. You can build it up kind of thick. It's real structural, but it's a little bit.
It does gets a little thickness, like you said, but the combo is like the 1708. It makes it strong.
So combo is a layer
of fibers with
mat.
each other,
Woven.
like, yeah, woven. Yeah.
and a layer of the.
Kind of, you heard of roving, right?
Roving, like
is the old
in the
stuff.
old Bertrams, very thick.
Yeah, they can whip
interlaced.
that and just put it on, and that will stay. That's real strong. But there's a new material like a 1708 that just has a little bit of mat on the bottom of it, so it helps. It can get better material to do lighter layouts.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the takeaway is, you're choosing different types of fiberglass based on how you want to apply strength in certain areas on the boat. How much glass do I put there? Where do I put it? Where do I reinforce it? Right.
That's correct. Yeah, and you have seen how I do some of the hatches that we use cloth. You mentioned only for. So it's gonna have a shape to it. So we use it light, make it as light as possible, but strong.
Right.
We use cloth some of the times, and then we cover it with mat.
Right.
And then sometimes we go mat combo mat.
Mat combo mat.
And then mat
It's just
combo,
fun to say,
mat,
really.
mat
It's just fun
combo.
to say.
Yeah.
I remember when you did the shaft log, the offset log for Matt's Farallon. By the time you were done, it was like 5/8 of an inch thick all the way around that thing. There's a close-up video shot of that, but
And if you don't know what an offset log is, go on our website and look at what an offset log is.
We use that a lot. That comes to play when we do V drives.
Yeah, that's one of my
Because
next things. We're going to talk about V-drives. But
Okay.
yeah, the offset log helps change the shaft as it relates to the height. Basically,
The prop tip clearance.
yeah.
It's kind of start. Can I
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
When we have for example, we have so much room to work with the engine room. We need about minimum to do a V drive on Raddens, Wilsons, the old way when they want to replace the out drive with an inboard. You helped me out with some of those projects that we needed about 9 feet of engine room space minimum. You know what I mean, to work to be able to do a V drive.
Right.
To replace it from an out drive to an inboard shaft and stuff like that to a V drive. And it takes a lot of measuring, cutting, and planning. And you said that's where it comes the offset log, that it has to be so it can push it into the boat.
Right.
To be able to put the prop clearance in there and the strut, all that has to kind of work from the back side of it.
Right.
And to the
Transmission. You're taking a boat that would normally be configured where the shaft exits the boat towards aft. Right now you're moving the transmission forward.
Right.
Now the shaft's coming out way more forward than it was before. So sometimes you have to do
the angle. The angle gets pretty steep sometimes.
Right.
So speaking of V drives, and both as a builder and as somebody who's operated boats, what do you think are some of the advantages, or what are some of the challenges with V drives?
The advantage of having a V drive is that you can remote drive. You can put a drive line between the engine and the transmission.
And that basically allows you to get the engine all the way back.
All the way back,
You can
and
put
you
it
can put that transmission farther forward.
Right.
Because of the customer, it depends what he wants to do, the fishery.
Right.
And he can move the engine, move it back, or do a close couple V drive.
And why would you? Well, generally the transmission is kind of determined by just the shaft, and it's determined by the shaft. You can move it around a little bit with an offset log or whatever, but the transmission kind of has to go roughly in the same spot no matter where you put the engine. The remote V drive lets you really move the engine forward and aft wherever you want.
Right. That's right. There's a formula. Really, you kind of have to stay with close. Tony taught me this, and I asked him those questions about the angle of where the shaft is coming out of the boat. If you go too steep, it does not very doesn't good.
It's not very efficient,
right? Yeah. And if you go too much, then the transmission is going to be way farther forward on the engine. So you kind of play with that, and that's where you get your. That's what we like to have a prop, or what size prop is gonna turn. We like to have the transmission in there using this Corey, and we put those things, and then we cut a hole in the boat, and we work from those 2 points.
Right.
And it's not set in stone until we decide, that's the transmission he's going to use. this is the size prop he's going to use. So then we start building a strut. We
Right.
start building the shaft log.
Everything starts falling into place.
Then we know what the engine kind of go up and down a little bit with it if we do a remote.
Right, but once the shaft comes in, you've set your angles, right?
That's the angle. Once
Yeah.
the shaft log gets set in stone and the strut, that's it. You can move it. That's it.
Right.
So here's a question. If you had a choice between doing a standard configuration in a boat where you had the engine, gear, prop shaft, or a remote V drive based on the project, what would you choose? Would you always choose the remote V drive? Do you like the challenge of it? It's challenging.
Well, if you do, this is what I see. The difference is when you do a remote V drive, the engine is not going to be like hard mounted.
Yeah,
It's going to be
right.
softer mount.
Right.
Like you were mentioning about isolators.
Right.
How alignment you can be off a little bit here and there. You can put softer mounts. The engine can be moving around. It won't transfer that movement to the
Right.
boat.
It's just torque only.
Just
torque
torque.
only.
So the
Yeah.
engine, the only thing the engine is doing is just transferring the power to turn into the drive line to that transmission. That transmission's taking all that force,
Right.
pushing the boat forward and mounting it harder mounts. You can see V drives, how we do 4 isolators on Tony's boat.
Right.
And
it becomes
other
a much
boats,
more heavy duty mounting for
Right.
the transmission because the transmission is doing all of the work.
And it doesn't vibrate like the engine, so it
Right.
can be a little more rigid.
you won't
know?
feel that.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
it depends on the application. A lot of times we have to do close couple because of the boat's not as big. They don't have the room.
Right.
And that's where it gets tough. You have to climb, you have to be underneath the engine transmission to be able to do all that, just to get because of the way the boat has been built.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the difference that I see. But I enjoy doing remote because it's fun, it's exciting,
Right.
something new. We don't do them that often
We
anymore.
don't do them that often.
Yeah, but when I know a boat comes in, it's a close couple. Oh no,
Yeah.
like you said, life in the bilge. That's what I'm going to be at. So
Yeah, access is definitely a little
it's
different
very
when you have a
different.
close coupled V drive. Trying to get under to the shaft log and
Yeah.
everything, it can be challenging. Especially typically it's a smaller boat, right? So you're down in there hugging the stringer and you're cramping up and you're trying to get tighten the nuts on the the packing or
Right.
whatever.
yeah. Well, after you've been in 30 some years, and when you started, like that was fun, but I don't know if it's fun.
Yeah, for those that don't know, the close couple V drive, the transmission bolts right to the engine, but the engine is pointing the other way than it would from a conventional drive. So the transmission still attaches straight to the engine. It just, the shaft comes out under the engine towards the steering.
Right. So the engine's turned around backwards,
Yeah.
essentially.
So basically you take wherever the transmission is sitting, let's say it's my coffee cup, and you could have, here's the shaft. You can have the engine here with a regular conventional drive, or you can flip it around
Right.
and have the engine here with a close
Now,
couple
think
V
about
drive.
what that yields in smaller boats, right? To have that package all like this as opposed to lengthened out,
Right.
lengthwise.
Right,
Right. It's very valuable in certain boats. And in fact, in certain boats, you don't have a choice
right,
but to do that configuration with a closed couple V drive.
right. Yeah. So, cool. So what are you working on now?
I'm working on a 28-foot Bertram.
Okay.
Tony, actually Corey was excited about owning a boat,
Yeah.
and I said, Corey, here's a 28-foot Bertram.
Corey's got the dream.
Well, so let's back up. Let me tell you a little bit about the
Remember
story.
the video, the last series about the dream?
Yeah, the boat dream. I
boat
got
dream?
the boat dream. I shouldn't have
Corey's
done
got
that.
the-
So we're driving. Frank and I are driving to the boatyard, which we went to often to do projects for repowers. And up on stands was this boat that said $5,000 or best offer, and it was basically an original 28 Bertram,
It was ready to go.
ready to go. Okay, I mean when I say original, I mean original. And so we drove by this thing probably for a year or two.
What were the engines in it?
Gassers.
Oh,
I think there were Crusaders or something.
I don't think there wasn't anything in there.
Oh, there wasn't any
He
engines?
was working on him. He was getting ready to do a repower. Like,
Oh, okay.
Get upgrade, I guess, gas engines, but everything was in there. And we asked the guy, and he said, "Are you selling the boat?" No. Like, oh, he's not selling the boat. And then go ahead, keep going the story.
We drove by this thing I don't know how many times, and we went and asked the guy. We said, "Hey, would you take $500 for this boat?" Just thinking he'd probably say, "Nah, no way, $500, get out of here." And sure enough, we got a call. I think either the same day or the day after, and he's like, "Come get it. Do you have a trailer?" And Frank and I were like, "No way." And so we went and grabbed that sucker, put it in the back, and there's a cool video, which I'll put a link to if we can, The first thing we did to the boat, and all you Bertram lovers out there will cringe, but we basically sawzawed the cabin off and took an old forklift and ripped the entire cabin off of this thing and gutted the boat completely down to the hull, and decided that, over time, and it has been over time, it's been, 10 years? Over time, that we would eventually build the boat for our own personal use, and maybe someday sell the boat. We never know.
Why did you? What did you guys not like about the original cabin, or was it rotten or something? Or
no, it was just. There's no way a boat like that. I think the dream really was, hey, let's do the Seaboard way on this boat. Let's make it like every other boat that we make. Right, and let's do it our way, and build it.
Yeah,
and fish it and have fun and enjoy it. And, Frank loves working on boats so much that he's like, yes, that's the right thing to do. And that's what he's doing.
And the dream is to be able to walk around it, but
Yes.
still have a nice little kind of cabin. So, right. So it's
100%.
almost like a giant center console with a cabin underneath.
And I have hundreds of pictures of the project that eventually we're going to we'll do a little repower section on it and show all the pictures, and we'll do some videos. And when we sea trial, we will absolutely take a video.
And it's basically the ultimate day boat, right? It's just like go
It's
out
the
early in the morning,
quintessential fishing boat out to the
zip
islands
out
and
there.
back.
You can walk, you can follow your line all the way around the whole boat. You can have a nice rail around there probably.
Yep.
And yeah.
The only thing I was kind of thinking about it, that all that work we did, and I said, how come we didn't do a V-drive? And but there was a lot of input, and that's where the experience comes into. Like, what are we going to do with this boat? What's going to be more useful? And this is what happens when you have to decide what are you going to do with the boat.
Right.
That's where everything starts.
And it was a twin gasser, but you're going to a single.
A single.
Right. So in this boat, we put a single, one of Tony's favorite engines, which is the 6.7 slimline version, which is basically like a QSB 5.9 with a bigger block.
Yeah.
Right.
And we have some footage, and I'm going to take some more footage. We got to do a repower video on this boat. So let's not get too into the weeds on that.
Yeah.
But this episode is more about Frank here. Mm-hmm. But that's what you've been working on lately. And we'll do some videos on that. We'll go out to the boat and actually shoot some videos on that, because we're talking about all this is going to be nightmare for Steve to put all these pictures up.
Right.
What did you do before you started working on? What was the last boat to go out of here?
It was called a lobster boat down easter of the Phantom.
Phantom.
Yeah, and we, just like a typical East Coast boat, we take the old engines out. All the deck has been, made out of wood and just saturated with water.
Literal wood, and the whole boat was saturated, right?
Yeah, the fuel tanks are, just aluminum. They're bad. We try to do whatever we could on that boat to make it come back to life. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of scratching my head, like, how am I going to fix this?
To completely reglass the shaft log, right? Coming
right,
into the
that's
boat.
right. Everything that we did, that I was involved doing, I had to do it like if I was doing it, like if it was a new boat. I had to make sure that part of it did not fall apart.
Yeah.
And
the rest of the boat would fall apart.
And some of the things I feel like I was telling Tony, I don't want to touch that.
Yeah, right.
Because if we touch it, then we're responsible.
Yeah.
So I talked to the customer, and look, I'm going to do this. I just went with them what we had to do in every single step I did, because it was the boat. Sometimes the boat is just too bad.
Right.
In this case, we did what we kind of helped it to come back to life.
Right.
It wasn't easy, but that's what the experience comes.
That's one of the bad things about the wooden built boats that have, that are fiberglass over wood, where they kind of chintz out on the fiberglass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We have pictures of that. I mean,
there's
before
a few
and after, I think, and it took a lot.
There's a few boat builders who do that, and it's great for the first 10 or 20 years. But when that core starts to rot out, what do you do? I mean, you have to almost like
you get creative.
Yeah,
it's totally different ocean from the East Coast.
Yeah.
To here, totally different how they use the boats here, and so it's just the difference how they build boats.
So think twice about just putting 1 or 2 layers over some plywood, because it doesn't last forever.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's about it. You have anything else you want to ask Frank? Do you have anything you want to talk about, Frank?
Well, I guess I don't know. The 45 minutes are up, but I can go on for a long time. No, I just been thankful. That first of all, thankful to God that I've been working for Tony for this long, and that he has been patient with me, I have been patient with him too.
Absolutely.
And we, I mean, everybody has their good days and bad days, like, but overall we have overcome those kind of challenges, and I'm glad that I met you, Corey, and you, Justin. You guys are a great team. And I think that you guys are doing good, and I see Seaboard Marine in good hands in the future.
Thanks.
So
thanks, Frank.
yeah.
We're gonna keep him around for another 45 years.
I don't know if he'll be around for much longer, but as long as you have boats, I'll be here.
Yeah.
So
we plan on having a lot more boats.
Just give me a hammer and a chisel, and I'll do fine.
That's right.
All right. Well, we can close with our usual, the Between Two Sterns.
Oh, I can't wait.
If you have an idea for Between Two Sterns, email us at boattalk@sbmar.com, and I will send you a free shirt.
Yes.
So this one, this one comes from CroatiaYachtCharter.com. CroatiaYachtCharter.com.
That's a mouthful.
So it's called Red Shirt Captain. A recruit joins a pirate ship. During a battle, he notices the captain always calls for his red shirt before engaging the enemy. Later, the recruit asks why. Captain explains, I wear my red shirt, so if I'm wounded, the crew won't see me bleed and lose their morale. Just then, a lookout shouts, 25 naval ships are approaching. The captain immediately calls out, bring me my red shirt and my brown pants. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Or what do I say? If you're still watching, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Thanks, Frank, for being awesome at all that you do. He's the expert repower guy, man. I'm telling you, if you need a boat built, this is your guy.
This is your guy.
And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. You gotta say red leather, yellow leather. What do you always say? Whiskey?
I love scotch. Scotch. I love scotch.
You have to say that before every episode.